Hello, my name is Leah. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi. I make videos about writing, my process, and my journey to becoming traditionally published. Today we're going to be reviewing my Q1 goals and setting up my goals for Q2. So I've got my handy dandy laptop to reference, and let's just jump right in. As most of you know, this year I'm trying out a new system with integrating my goal setting and my to-do list on Notion. I have a whole video about how all of that works, which I will leave links down below if you want to go check it out. But basically the way that I'm dividing up my goals right now is I have different categories of life, essentially, that I've put goals under. That way I'm trying to have a more well-rounded approach to goal setting and to developing myself in different areas of life and not just about my writing or my work stuff. First, I will give you some highlights of things that I've done in Q1. In January, I submitted to Author Mentor Match, which was awesome. It was a great experience, even though I did not get picked. But that meant for that, in January, I completed my second revision of Project Shadows, which honestly was just so exciting. I hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, which also was very exciting. That happened in January. At the end of January and through February, I outlined my middle grade project and I started writing that, which brought me into March. I kind of stopped working on that through March. There's a few reasons for that. Originally, my plan was to have a zero draft finished by April 8th, which is next Friday. I'm still not even out of Act 1 of my middle grade. So that kind of gives you an idea of how little I've actually worked on it based off what I was planning to do. My husband and I are looking to buy a home right now, and that has taken up a lot more of my time than I anticipated. I also spent a lot of time getting the Notion templates that I have available on my Ko-fi ready for people to use, so that took up some of my time. And then also, over the past few weeks, I've been working on something that I will be announcing, I think next week actually, so stay tuned for that. So all in all, I'm not super frustrated with myself in what I've accomplished. It's just like different things than what I planned to, which of course is okay. There's room in every schedule, there's room in every like goal setting arena to kind of make some shifts depending on how things go. I will say I have been a little bit scatterbrained in March, and that has made my writing work slow way down. Like I don't think I've done any writing work in a few weeks, which is frustrating, but that's what moments like this is for. It's the end of the quarter, and so now it's just time for me to reevaluate what I'm doing and see what I can do better. So jumping into my Q1 goals, the first section that we have are my personal goals. One of those was to make time for gaming at least an hour a week. I checked this one off, although I don't technically know if I played a game for an hour every single week. It's not something that I'm tracking because it's not something that I'm trying to build as a habit. I just have this goal to allow myself space to play games. There are certain times where I'm busy with stuff and I feel like if I sit down and relax, then, you know, that's a waste of my time. I shouldn't be doing that. So this is just to make space for allowing that. So I feel like I did that well this quarter. I allowed myself the space to play games. My second goal is to read 9 books this quarter, aka 3 books a month. I read 10 books this quarter, so we are on track for my reading goal. 2 of those books were supposed to be writing books. I did read Into the Woods, which is a writing craft book, and I did not read my second writing book. So actually, I'm hoping to pick up another writing book, probably today actually, and get through it, although that technically will fall into April, which is Q2, but not mad at myself for that. One of those books was supposed to be a Christian book. I did read Gentle and Lowly, so that is my book for that category. The other thing I have in here is to record daily gratitude. I wasn't tracking this in January, so I have no clue how I did or didn't do in January. I did decent in February. I think I did track my gratitude like most days. March, I have not done that as much, mainly because I've kind of fallen off using my habit tracker as a whole. I don't know if this is just in my head or not, but I do really feel like I feel a difference in not recording my gratitude. Like I do feel in that section of time that I wasn't doing it, I do feel like I wasn't quite as intentional with my thankfulness. I was a little bit less content. I was a little bit more, what's the word? It's not that I was grumpy all the time, but you know, my focus wasn't necessarily on the things that I need to be grateful for. So I think having this month where I wasn't so good at that honestly is going to be good for the year as a whole, because it's gonna help push me to actually be recording that every day and actually be intentional about thinking about what I have to be thankful for. The next category is fun and recreation, and the first thing under this category I have is limit time on social media. This is another thing that I did really good at in February, but have made basically no effort to do in March. And again, I can feel the difference. I really can. And the way that I kind of determine if that's a success or not is each week, you know, I have my little check mark box on my habit tracker of if I was able to not be on social media for under, but my words are getting confusing here. Basically, I only want to spend an hour a day on social media. I'm tracking this through my habit tracker. If I succeed in that, I do my little check mark, and then at the end of the month, I can see the percentage of how often that box is checked on the habit tracker. For February, my percentage on this was 32.14%. And then for March, actually, okay, this is weird. I did not think that my rate was actually fairly similar. It's 32.26% for March. I think I was doing much better at it at the beginning of March, and then I did have a chunk of time where I just wasn't using my habit tracker, and so all of those squares are blank. So maybe I did better at that than I thought in March. I'm gonna give myself a goal of 40% for quarter 2 though, to maybe help bump that number up a little bit. The other thing in this section was to schedule one free weekend per month. This was an attempt to stop myself from overbooking my schedule, basically. Like, I'm an introvert and I physically need time alone at home where I can just reset and relax. And that doesn't need to be every single day. I've found that if I don't have a free weekend in a month, I just feel so drained and exhausted by the end of it that I just hate everything. So I did do this one successfully, and honestly, it has been so amazing to like give myself the space to do this. I literally will in my calendar put free weekend, and I just consider that busy. So if someone asks me to do something on a free weekend, I just have to say no. The next category is work and learning, and the first thing is to give project shadows to beta readers. This I did in fact do after the whole author mentor match thing happened. I basically was just like, cool, didn't make it in, time to send it to beta readers to get feedback anyways. So that is off with them right now. I'm not sure when I'm picking project shadows up again. Potentially at the end of May, I want to do that. Second check mark was start project game draft 0. I did technically do this, so I'm giving it a check mark because I did start writing it. I didn't get very far, but I did start. And that is all I needed to do this quarter, because I was never planning on finishing it this quarter. And then number 3 on this part was to take a writing related class. This was Maggie Stiefvater's class that I bought, and I made a video all about that as well. So if you want to check that out, I will leave it linked down below. I really enjoyed it. It definitely taught me some things, taught me some new ways to look at things, and it's been fun to experiment with implementing the things that she teaches in her class into my own process as well. Category number 4 is family and relationships. Number 1 on this is to initiate 3 social events or outings. I did 2, so technically I did not succeed in this. Second bullet point is go on 2 dates a month, and this one I have unchecked because I honestly don't know if I succeeded in this or not. Obviously this is kind of a 2-person situation, me and my husband. We definitely have gone on at least 1 out date every month. I was allowing myself to include an staying in date, but you know, that line is just so blurry because we live together. If I'm going on just how I feel about the way that we've been dating in quarter 1, I feel good about it though. So I guess if that's the case, I will just give it a check mark. Next on the list is to call my grandparents once a month. This I did do. I'm trying to make a concerted effort to call them more. It's been really nice. They've been very happy to talk to me, and I've been very happy to talk to them. Next category is health and wellness, and number 1 on this, of course, is to be on a regular workout schedule, routine, whatever. Y'all, I wanted so badly to be able to report back and say that I did so good in quarter 1, but I simply have not, and it is fully a matter of laziness. I have zero excuse. It is literally just me being more comfortable sitting on my recliner than going for a walk. If I'm gonna point at anything as an excuse, it's that it's been so cold in January and February especially that going on a walk is miserable, but I have yoga as an option. It's just an excuse. and I need to do better. This is gonna be one of my big focuses for quarter 2. Number 2 on this list is to learn 3 veggie-based recipes. I did make a vegan gnocchi and a falafel this quarter, so those are my 2. I did not quite get a third. That I can remember. I feel like I did do a third, but I can't remember what it was, so I have no idea. I need to be better at recording that to know if I'm actually doing the thing or not. And then my third on this list was to incorporate 3 new eco-friendly habits. I did in fact start doing this. In January, we started using reusable K-cups rather than the disposable ones. In February, I started using reusable bags whenever I go grocery shopping. And then in March, what I was trying to make a concerted effort in was to defaulting to cleaning with a rag versus a paper towel. I know this is something that probably a lot of people do anyways, but growing up, like me and my family always just like would rip off a paper towel to spray the counter and wipe it down. So I've been using that more recently as well to help not waste the paper. And in that also, I started researching like eco-friendly cleaning brands essentially, or things with more natural ingredients and less chemicals in them. But I stopped myself from buying anything because I need to just use what I have now. That is the more eco-friendly option, is to just use up what you have before buying anything else. Category number 6 is spiritual growth. My first under this list is to record weekly scripture. So what I wanted to do with this was to have a space to record a scripture of the week, essentially. So that whenever I'm looking at my planner and I'm looking at what I have to do for the week, I just have that scripture like right in front of me, and it's just something that I can sort of maybe try to memorize throughout the week, that sort of thing. I didn't really do this because I had my weekly scripture space on my goal setting page, but the thing that I'm looking at mostly is my to-do list. I'm not really looking at my goal setting page unless it's Monday, whenever I'm trying to figure out what my to-dos for the week are. I might try to change the location of where that weekly scripture is for quarter 2, or I might just not do it at all, because the next one on my list is to read scripture every day, this scripture being the Christian Bible. In February, I was a little bit spotty on it, and I'm saying February because I wasn't tracking any of these habits in January, so I have no clue what I was doing in January, basically. I started a read through the Bible in a year program on my Bible app, and it's helped me have like specific things that I need to read every single day. And for a really long time there, I was on a very like consistent streak at the beginning of March. When my dad and grandma visited a few weekends ago, I got out of the habit because, you know, we were busy, we were doing stuff. So I'm trying to catch back up to where I'm supposed to be now. But when I just have like my standard normal week, I pretty much read the Bible every single day. And then the third thing on this list was to pray every day. That kind of goes in hand with the scripture thing. Category number 7 is financial goals. So the first one on this list was to give 3 gifts. First under this category was to give 3 gifts. We were able to do that, which was very nice to do. I don't think any of those were without cause. One of them is definitely a wedding gift, and I think the other 2 were birthday gifts, so they weren't like spontaneous, just 'cause gifts, which I would like to do more. The second one was to get pre-approved for a home loan. We did in fact do that, and now we're in the process of trying to find a home to use it on. And then the third goal on this was to get a realtor again. We did that, and now we're looking at houses, and it's overwhelming and the market sucks. Hopefully quarter 2, a goal can be buy a house. That would be nice. And then the last category is physical environment. I had 2 on here that just didn't apply. In quarter 1, one of those is to invest in versatile decor pieces. I just didn't buy any home decor, so that didn't apply. And then the other one was to finish with projects within a week of starting them. Again, I didn't start any like apartment projects or DIY things or anything like that, so those don't really apply. And then my last one was to create a chore schedule, and let me tell you, that has been revolutionary. Genuinely, like the automated chore schedule thing that I have on my Notion system. Again, I have some more details about that on my Notion video, but it has been so easy, so just amazing to be able to just be told what chores I need to do for the day. And now for the time where I set my quarter 2 goals, I'm gonna skip over all of the ones that have to do with habits or doing this X amount of times per week, just because that's a bit redundant. You already know I'm trying to make these habits, etc., etc. I'm gonna focus in on the things that I'm specifically doing in quarter 2. I'm gonna have the goal of reading 9 books again, because that's what puts me on track to reading, I think, 36 for the whole year. One thing that I'm going to be doing under fun and recreation this quarter is to finish planning a national parks road trip that I'm taking with a couple of my friends this summer. We're going to be going to Mammoth Cave and Great Smoky Mountains. So we just have some like trip planning to do for that to get prepared, because we're supposed to be going on that in June, so that will be fun. I guess that will also be in quarter 2, is the trip itself. As for what I'm going to be working on writing wise for quarter 2, of course, depending on the level of beta reader feedback that I get, I would like to start, if not finish, a draft 3 of Project Shadows, why did I say that, in quarter 2. If the notes are, of course, a little bit more complex than that, then the finishing of that will happen in quarter 3, but I will at least be starting, I think, a draft 3 of Project Shadows. I would also like to continue draft 0 of Project Game, even though I think going forward, I'm not going to be making it my sole priority. I think I'm going to try something new in quarter 2 and allow myself to jump between projects a little bit more. I've never liked doing this. I really like getting in the zone with something and working on that day in and day out. But with Project Game, I'm having a really hard time doing that. And then I think I decided yesterday, really, that for Camp Nano, what I want to do is return to Project Fire. It's just calling my name. I need to do some re-outlining work. There's just, for some reason, I just can't get this story to land in the way that I want it to. I think that I'm still too tied into my original crappy first draft 0 idea that I had back in 2018. I think there's still elements of that I'm clinging on to that I just need to let go of. So I'm going to try to come to it with a fresh perspective and re-outline it during Camp Nano, and potentially start drafting it during Camp Nano, depending on where I get with that. And then again, working on draft 0 through the rest of quarter 2, kind of in tandem with draft 0 of Project Game. So we're gonna try writing 2 books at once and see how that goes. Pretty much everything else I think is the same. It's all like habit stuff. The only new thing is buy a house ? That might be happening in quarter 2, we'll see. And then with that, if we're moving, then I'll need to deep clean the apartment, so I put that in physical environment, although that kind of just wraps into the whole home buying process. But yeah, quarter 2 has the potential to be very interesting. It's going to be regardless. It's not just gonna have the potential. I'm excited to see what happens, especially with the whole home buying front. It's just so chaotic right now, and I'm gonna make a really concerted effort to not let that derail my goals for the quarter as well. I don't want to get so wrapped up in that process that I just forget everything else. Of course, it's hard to know if that is even reasonable or not, because who knows? We're just playing it by ear, and I'm excited to see what this quarter has in store. But that is all I had for you today. Let me know down below what sort of goals you have for the upcoming quarter. I would love to hear them. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye!